Hey guys, Mick from Total Performance Centre. Today, as promised, we're going to do bike fitting. Alright, so for those of you that are into time trialling, triathlon, long course triathlon especially, this one is for you. So, behind me I've got my trusty Cervelo P-Series bike. Okay, I got this because of the adjustability of it. I could have afforded at the time, to go on the P5, which is Cervelo's top of the range, but I chose this one specifically purely because the front end of this is adjustable. I can turn it into whatever I want. At the moment we've got the profile area stem, which I can stick one of those front mounted hydration systems up the front, which makes pretty much every bike that you put it on more aerodynamic. So that's set up so I can do that there. Currently I've got about 60mm of stack underneath the arm pads. I've got my arm pads about 12 centimetres apart, and I've got what we call the high-rise hand position. So in other words, my hand is up higher. So with these ones, these are a 15-degree up. So if they were on a standard set of aero bars, we'd be able to make them UCI compliant. With the Vision Trimax handlebars that I've got on this, these have also got a tilt adjuster in them as well. So what I've actually done is I've tilted these further back, and then the hand position I have is actually quite aggressive. So I'm more than, 15 degrees is standard, and there's 15 degrees of angling back, plus that, so realistically it'd be about a 30-degree tilt up with the hands up into that position. So today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how to sit on your bike, how to get comfortable, and what to look for. Okay. So this is the position I was in for Noosa Tri 2 weekends ago. Not super happy with the position, so I'm going to completely rejig what I'm doing on this bike. Okay, so today I am going to mess with everything. I'm going to show you a few things that I've done previously, what to look for, what not to look for, those sorts of things, and see how we go. Alright, so I'm going to jump on the bike and we're going to get started. When we get on a time trial bike, quite often we start pedaling on this and we think, oh, seat feels too low. Alright, what my thing to you is, don't worry too much about if the seat feels too low in the position on the handlebars, sorry, on the bull horns. We need it to feel perfect when we're in time trial position. Because once we go from here to here, our pelvis actually tilts forward, effectively creating a longer leg. Okay? So, never judge here, never do your bike fits from here. Okay? So, we come forward into our position, right? Adjust. As you can see, very aggressive hand position there. There guys, take two. So, what I've done, I've raised the seat nearly 3 centimetres. I've taken the seat forward in the seat post and almost all the way forward in the rails. This is, for lack of a better word, your classic tri setup. Alright, this is when old school triathlon setup was basically, because originally we were all put on, we used to go take our road bike, chuck a set of clip-ons on it and go. So, and to reach from the seat to the aero bars, everyone used to slam their seat as far forward as we can get it. So that's generally where it's sort of come from, to get the comfort and the ability to actually hold the position, which is understandable. But with the modern geometry frames these days, I'll show you why it's not necessary later. But seat slam forward, what I've done on this one is I've always also taken that, ignore this position, I've just left the bars pretty simple. I've taken the hands a little bit lower, all right? So I'm going to get on now and I'm going to show you the difference in the setup. Okay, a lot further forward. I literally feel like I'm going down a hill right now. I've got a lot of weight through my elbows. You can see here as well, see the rounding in my back? Right? And for me to look forward, it's actually hard work. To get my head so I can actually look at the road, that's hard. Knees a lot straighter, and now when I stick my hand here, one thing, I'm barely able to keep pedaling because I've got so much weight through the left arm, and two, I can feel my pelvis starting to rock. Okay, that position there. Can I imagine doing a half Ironman or an Ironman like that position? I don't think so. I'm flat out getting the shrug going here. So getting those shoulders to come back down so I can actually lower and then hit the head properly. I can literally feel myself pulling up here because the pecs have to engage to try and stop me from falling forward on the bike at the moment. But this is old school, classic triathlon position. You know? The only thing that would make it even more old school was if I raised the seat even further and had the nose of the saddle even further forward. Okay, but that there, and I'll admit it, this was probably, on my old bike, this is probably how I was riding. Okay? So now, I'm going to make some adjustments and start bringing it back the other way. So, I'm going to keep the camera rolling on this one. So, first thing we're going to do is find my Allen key. Here it is. Okay. Taking that down about two centimetres there. Now for now I'm not going to make any other adjustments, I'm just going to jump straight back on. One thing straight away I notice, see the knee bend is different, my pelvis is squarer, so back end wise, it feels better. The forearms, it's a lot of weight going through those elbows. 5 hours on the bike or two and a bit hours on the bike, that position there, my elbows are killing me. And I can feel I'm actually almost like an old school typewriter. Every time my leg moves forward, I can feel myself sliding forward on the seat. If that happens to you, it's a pretty good indication that you are too far forward and you're sliding forward. And if you're one of those people that you're riding along and you have to constantly shuffle back, you actually need to move the seat further back. Because just think about it, if you're hang on. Okay, I'm going to use the car as the seat, where my feet are. Alright, so I've got pretend that's a really aggressive seat position. I lean forward and I start falling forward. Okay, so old school mentality is if you're falling forward, you must be reaching forward. So we take the seat even further forward. But when we start talking balance, okay, so we go from that position where I'm falling forward to now I'm going to move my feet forward. So effectively think about that's actually taking the seat back. So now I move my feet about 2 centimeters forward then, still using the car as the seat position, lean forward. Look at that. Haven't fallen forward. I'm stretching my hamstring there, but it's comfortable. All of a sudden, I can get into that arrow position and I'm not falling forward. So what we need to do instead of sliding the seat further forward, we're actually going to take it back. So I'm going to take this seat back. We're going to go, so right now I'm slammed as far forward on the rails as I can get it. I'm going to take it to mid rails. Okay, that's about mid rails. Seat's fairly level there. So I've moved that, let's call it about 5 centimeters. If I move the seat 5 centimeters back, I'm going to drop the seat height 2.5. Now we're going to take it down about 2.5 centimeters. Now get on the bike again. Well, that feels different. Okay, now so there, I've gone quite aggressively back. I think I may have gone a little bit low, so I'm going to take it up a bit higher. And I'm going to actually bring it forward a little bit. It felt just a little bit, felt like I was actually reaching to the bars now. So I'm going to take it forward. Just a little bit. That's about 5 mil. And now I'm going to take it up. So I wanted to take it up before. So now I'm going to take it up a full centimetre. Or thereabouts. I'm not measuring at the moment. This is all fairly rough. So that position there, starting to feel better. Now I think that position, height-wise, length-wise, it's pretty square through the pelvis. But I have a lot of weight through my elbows again. Okay? So now, having a look at the angle of my feet, right? Because I am what we call a heel dropper. So I tend to drive through the heels. So at a lower power, it may feel like you're at the right position, but then when you start putting race power in, your heel drops a bit more. So you tend to be almost reaching for the pedal and you rock around a little bit more. And if you're one of them, generally you'll notice it feels alright if you're just making some little adjustments, but then all of a sudden you get out and you go hard and you start getting some saddle pain, those sorts of things. If that's you, you may be actually a little bit high. So, but what we're going to do now is, like I said, I had some weight coming, a lot of weight going through that front end there, okay? So we're actually going to go back again, alright? So, this is what it's like with bike fitting, just the little adjustments. Okay, let's have a look at that. Feels a bit better. What did you see then? We're starting to slide forward. So that's one of two things. Seat's either too high or seat's too far forward. So either too high or too far forward. Have a bit of a look and see how I feel. The other option is, of course, that I'm too low at the front end. So, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go back down. I'm going to split the difference on what I took it up before. Doesn't feel too bad there. Pretty happy with that. Fairly balanced. Take the hand out. Reach in. Pick the bike. So I've got enough ability there to adjust, change, without really having to brace. And what I'm now able to do, I'm able to get more movement through these shoulder blades. I'm actually sitting more comfortable, and I'm able to now look forward with a certain amount of ease. So I'm going to keep that position for now, and then we're going to adjust the front end. Alright, so loosen up that front stem just a little bit. I'm an advocate of high hand position for me. Doesn't work for everyone, but it does for me. But there's been enough improvements in times versus power over the last couple of years since switching to this position for me to say, yeah, I'm a believer in it. So I've just adjusted that now, so I'll loosen it off so I can actually bring the bars back. And what you'll notice here, hands come up. Right. All of a sudden, the mid upper back, right in behind the shoulder blades, flattens out. And this is where, for me, and quite a few people, it works really, really well. So what I mean by, you lengthen out there, right, you go lower here, your lower back tends to flatten out. But what can happen is, because you're reaching further forward, you tend to round up here. And when we round up in that upper thoracic, what happens is the natural position of the neck is down, and then you have to crane through the neck harder. So we got that position there, but then all of a sudden, as I bring that up, I actually feel that thoracic back deload, and then the ability for me to actually crane my neck is improved, or to lift my head I should say. The ability for me to lift my head is improved, but what it also does, I'm able to shrug down lower because there is actual less load on the neck. So to go to that position there, all of a sudden, completely different. Go down here, where it was, holding that position, a lot of tension here. So, let's bring it back up. That position, come back, come back, come back. There, I felt it deload through the neck. Go a little more. Even more. Wow. Gonna go a little more. So that there, that position, all of a sudden I felt all the tension come out between the shoulder blades. Tension just dropped completely. And that there tells me that's a sustainable position. Come back down there, what I thought felt alright, completely different. So now, bring it up, better, bring it up, better, bring it up. Zero load on the shoulders there. Alright, I'm going to go even higher this time. There. Full praying mantis position, that one. Current seat position. See how I'm rocking? Okay, so I'm going to go take it down. Nice rocking. Nice rocking. bit. I'm going to say there for now. But what I am noticing now is because of this position, I need to take the seat back. Because when we come up to this position, it actually slides us back. So now, I'm going to take the saddle back further again. So we're going to go about 5 to 10 mil. Try that. So I'm going to go all the way back down again. Now that feels goddamn awful where I was before, but it didn't feel too bad because I'm further back. Okay, here we go again. Let's adjust. Bring it up. A little bit better. Bring it up. A little bit better. Bring it up. A little bit better. Now, instead of wanting to fall forward, I'm actually wanting to go back into the seat. That position there. Pretty relaxed through the shoulders. I can go up and down, getting my head low. Not too bad. Perception-wise, feels okay, but I want better than okay, I want great. So I'm going to go back again. That one. Half a centimetre at the most. And what you're noticing here too is the saddle staying level. Right? If you've got your saddle tilted right down, one of two things is happening. Saddle's either too high or the front end's too low. Especially with an ISM. Most people with an ISM saddle, they say they feel it in the groin area. It feels like it's, the saddle's too wide. If you're sitting on your sit bones, the saddle literally cannot be too wide. All right. If it's too high, on the other hand, what will happen is you'll tend to posteriorly tilt your pelvis into that position there, and then you'll actually sit on the soft tissue, which will make the saddle feel like the lightest thing about the saddle. All right. So here we go. Forward, whoa, back, get in there, pretty good. I'm going to simulate taking my arms forward. See how that feels? So basically I've simulated taking the pads forward. Bring it back, see how that feels? Don't like that. Bring it forward. going. It's pretty square. Right, taking it up. Right, there's 260 watts. That's my half Ironman pace. So, what I noticed there, started reaching, my heels dropping on the right hand side. I don't know if you noticed my pelvis twisting a bit. So that tells me, even though at low power, I look good through here, I'm not riding low power when I'm racing. So I'm going to drop the saddle, just a small amount. Too far. A bit long. I'm going to keep the seat where it is, just a seat. There's 260. Got better. Am I ever going to get the perfect position? Good question. Don't know. But that, my friends, is where I'm going to leave it today. Okay? What we're looking for in the bike fit, especially long course. Tighten this up. Balance is number one. You've got to be balanced from the front to the back. If you're not balanced, it introduces more stress to the system because the brain is literally having to stop you, more often than not, from falling forward on the bike. So your chest has to increase activation, your shoulders have to increase activation. When that happens, your upper spine rounds. When that rounds, your pecs tighten even further, closing off your ability to breathe. So we end up lift this up. So we end up with that classic rounded up here, head's getting pushed down, so then we to maintain a good aerodynamic position, we have to lift up. But what happens over time is we tend to push up, and then instead of just tilting back here, the head comes up. Right? And then when you see the helmet on top of it, we'll get that position there pretty good. So round it through in that position, like in that mid back. All right, head's getting pushed down. So what? To fix that, we literally have to tilt the whole head instead of just lifting that position, because we can't maintain it. But if we can get that lengthened out, so in other words, come back a little more, okay, excuse the position with the legs, if we can come back a little more, right, depending on flexibility and range, we'll actually flatten out the back, which then means it's easier, well, the neck's not starting in that position, so it starts us here. So then literally all we need to do is tilt that head back, and it's easy to maintain that position. Okay, you may round the lower back a little more because you're further behind the bottom bracket, but that's okay, because then remember, the head and the arms, we're aiming to get into one position or create one hole. So in other words, we want our head nice and close to our hands if possible, and we want to create one hole in the air where the arms and the head go through at the same sort of in the one hole, versus the old school one with the hands down here, head there. So we create a hole for the hands, and then we have to create a hole for the head, and we also have the big air sock or the pocket in between the shoulder blades, so like that, or we bring it into that position there and we create one hole. Alright, so long video, no apologies if you're still here. Thanks for sticking around. Let me know how you go. This is Mick from Untitled Performance Centre. Have a good day, guys. Enjoy.